What is going on, YouTube? This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics Collectibles, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the state of the comic market, where we came from, where we are right now, and of course where we are headed. Before we get into the video today, guys, like always, if you are not a current subscriber of the channel, guys, I want you to go in and click the subscribe button for me if you are inclined. Of course, I want you to tap that like button if you guys are enjoying yourself, and of course turn on notifications because it does let you know when I post new videos. One other thing, if you guys haven't checked out my new website, it is mightycollects.com. When you guys have a minute, go ahead and check that out. But like I said, we're here for the state of the comic market. Now, we're going to jump right in and talk about where we came from. 2020 to 2021 was a wild ride with COVID and comic books themselves just going absolutely bonkers, whether it was due to the MCU, to, you know, people hanging out on live sales, buying books. The meteoric rise we had for about that year and a half was absolutely unbelievable, right? We had a ton of books go for new records, you know, smaller books, bigger books, mid-level books, everything and their mother was going up, right? I mean, you could have bought like a minor key for $50, and all of a sudden now in today's market, that book is probably worth about $400 to $500. There's a little speculation out there of, you know, the movies, what's coming next. Disney Plus launched in that time period as well. So we got a bunch of little tidbits that were happening over this year and a half, which caused an immense amount of craziness to kind of go on in the market, right? So that's not sustainable. At least I don't think it's sustainable. Right now, where we are, the state is that the big keys, like the AF-15s, the Fantastic Four ones, like all the big time keys, they continue to go higher. Why? Because they are the blue chip investments. A lot of people right now, especially with the stock market the way it is, where it's kind of like going nowhere, it's kind of high volatility. People have pulled some of their money out of the market to invest in these things that have just been going up and up and up over the past year. Now, that's not the only thing. Like we talked about, like the movies and stuff like that. It's been a wild ride. Now, where we are right now is that the big keys, like I said, are continue to go up, well, although not setting records every other week like we were getting, but the mid-level tier books, some of them are only going up if we're getting some kind of news right now, right? You see a lot of books like, you know, Doctor Strange books, Doctor Strange 169, Doctor Strange 1 of the, you know, volume 1 technically. Those books have skyrocketed because all the rumors that have gone out there with the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness movie. When Spider-Man No Way Home came out, all those Amazing Spider-Man keys, all those spec keys that were kind of going crazy because they didn't know what was going to happen in that movie. There was so much speculation surrounding that film that it caused these minor keys to go up a tremendous amount in such a short period of time. But where does that leave us, right? Some of these small keys, especially some of these modern keys that were spec'd on, like the Superior Iron Man that everybody was going crazy about, going to be in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. How did that work out for you guys? I don't know. I don't want to spoil anything right now, but regardless, some of these books that were highly spec'd on, they've gone up, they shot up, and then they come right back down because they didn't appear in a movie. In my opinion right now, at least this is what I'm seeing, is that the big books, you're going to be fine. All the big books, the big Silver Age keys, the big Bronze Age keys, I think you are going to be fine. These smaller keys that were spec'd on, or smaller keys that have not shown up yet in a film but are rumored to spec up or to show up, those are the books you really have to be careful on. So my main takeaway for where we are right now is everything that you buy, you have to buy with a purpose in mind. I think it's really too hard in this type of market to kind of spec on these things, on these rumors. It's not 2020, 2021 anymore, where you bought everything and everything is going up no matter what. We really have to be picky in what we're picking up right now. Like I said, if you stick to the big keys, you're going to be fine in the long term. If you flip books within a couple of months after buying them, this is not the market to do it in because you could get burned and burned badly. But if you're a long-term collector like me, this still is worth buying books. This is the time where you definitely should be picking up some of the big keys, especially now that we're kind of pulling back a little bit. I don't think we're going to get a major pullback in the bigger keys. Like I always talk about books like Giant Size X-Men 1 is still an undervalued book because you know Wolverine and the X-Men are going to show up. Early Fantastic Four books, same thing. We know the Fantastic Four are going to show up. You got to buy them now before they do. When they first announced it, that's kind of when you should have done it, but there's still room. You're going to get a little bit of a pullback. We have a little bit of a lull right now in the movies. We have Thor Love and Thunder coming in July, and then I don't know what's left for the rest of the year, to be honest, till next year. We might have something else at the end of the year. I don't remember, but it's nothing I don't think that's going to, break the bank. Everything that's going forward, what are we going to see? We have a long wait, so you might get a little bit of a pullback. If you guys are looking for a specific book, you want to get into a specific book, especially if it's a big key, you may get a little bit of a pullback. That's it for where we are right now. You have to be extremely picky in what you're buying. If you're a modern collector and are specking on new books about new characters, first appearance like that, I can't get into that stuff because it's not my area of expertise. I don't know what new characters are coming out. I don't know what people are specking on going forward for the new book, so I'm going to stay out of that realm. But when we're talking about Silver Age, even if there's smaller keys, Bronze Age keys, stuff like that, you have to be a little bit picky, except for the blue chip ones. That you can buy and hold on. But even if you buy those, don't think you're selling those books for a major profit in like 2 months' time, because it's not going to happen. Right? So my main focus with making this video is to protect out there the investors and the new comic book collectors who kind of want to get into the game but kind of don't know where to start. Be picky in what you're buying. The first rule, in my opinion, when buying a comic book as an investment is that you have to be invested into the character. You can see all the big books behind me, those Spider-Man books. I am a huge Spider-Man fan. That's why I collect those books, is because I have an attachment to that character. I want these books in my collection. Some of the other first appearances you see back there, like obviously I'm a fan of the Hulk. I'm a fan of, Wolverine, Daredevil. I'm not major fans like I was of Spider-Man. Like I was a huge Spider-Man, Punisher, Incredible Hulk, and Batman fan growing up. Those are the 4 books I constantly read. I constantly wanted to buy stuff. I constantly wanted to see them in shows or in movies. So those are the books that I gravitate to now. And as I've advanced as a collector, I started picking up other first appearances. I was lucky enough to get into the game about 4 to 5 years ago when kind of everybody else was kind of just maybe tapping their foot into this collection, into this, investment type thing. So now it seems like everybody and their mother is trying to get into this thing, but it's a really tricky spot to do it. Like I said, the big keys, no problem. If you are a long-term collector, you're going to be fine. You're going to hang on to these books and they're going to go up. The immediate to modern, the immediate intermediate keys, they are, you have to be careful on what you're buying. Again, if you're a Fantastic Four fan and all of a sudden you want to collect the Fantastic first appearance of Black Bolt, I think it's issue 46, go ahead and do that, right? Like you're a big fan of Black Bolt, you're a big fan of the Inhumans, you want to own that book, it makes sense to go ahead and buy it. I'm not buying that book because I'm a huge Black Bolt fan. As an investor or whatever, I'm buying that book because I think it's going to go up in value someday. I'm using that book as an example. I'm not buying that book, but it's an example. If you want to buy that book thinking, hey, I think this book is going to go up because he's going to be in a future movie, then go right ahead. But you have to be careful, because if he's in a movie and the movie doesn't do well, or in a movie and they don't do the character justice, the book is only going to go down, right? These intermediate keys, you have to beware that they may not go up. So that's why when I always do the Hot 10 breakdown lists or like Cop or Drop, we always talk about investments. We always talk about what books are hot, what books we want to drop, what books we want to buy. I try to stick to the tried and true books because those are the books to me that are guaranteed to go up in value. And because for the most part, I have a physical attachment to these books. Like I love these characters. That's why I buy them. I'm not just in it for the money. Okay. There are certain books that I was able to buy like 3 or 4 years ago that, I said to myself, the way the MCU was going, I could buy these books and make some money off of it, of course. But now it's a different time. You really have to be sure, because if they don't show up, or like I said, they do the character injustice, then the book's going to go right back down. So another point I really wanted to make with this video is that, if you're a long-term collector, buy what you love. Buy the books and the characters that you say, my God, I remember this from way back when. I love this character. This character means something to me. It's an important moment in my lifetime and how I grew up, stuff like that. That's what brings us to these comic books. If you're an avid reader of comics, I think that's awesome. Go buy new books, go read them, and then hopefully one day you pick up the right ones where they actually use those characters going forward in movies or shows, and then you got yourself a nice little investment going forward. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. I applaud everybody who does that. But the guys out there that go out and just spec on books and have no emotional connection to the characters, it's really tough to make money that way. You're going to end up losing money most of the time instead of making it. So keep that in mind. Unless you own an LCS and you have access to all the books and you can just keep a couple for yourself of every book and then kind of go out and say, yep, I made a ton of money on this one, so it made up for everything else. 99% of people can't do that. So keep that in mind. Buy what you love. That's the one thing I want to bring across with this video. So where are we going in the comic market now? Remains to be seen. I think for right now and for the foreseeable future, we are going to be right where we are, where the spec books are going to go up for a little bit. If they don't show up or they don't do the character right, they're going to kind of pull in. But the ones that you hit on, they're going to go up a big deal. But the tried and true books that are going to keep going up over the years are the big blue chip keys. If you guys haven't checked out my videos on undervalued keys or keys I'd still be buying, check out those videos because there's a lot of great stuff, in my opinion, that you could still get for all price ranges. And those videos are broken down for, high dollar value books, mid and low. I don't spec on a lot of modern stuff because, like I said, it's too hard for me to do that when I'm not caught up on all the storylines and I don't invest a lot of time into getting into that. If I want to go buy a modern book, it's because I want to read that book, okay? With that said, I'm going to mention, if you guys haven't subscribed to my newsletter or joined the YouTube channel, what I do is I give away 3 to 5 comics a month that I think will go higher in the near term. Some of them are big keys. Like I said, I am throwing out big keys, I'm throwing out intermediate keys, and I'm also throwing out a couple of spec books as well for really low dollar amounts for you guys out there. I don't do that often, but when I believe in something, hey, I think they're going down that road, I'll throw a book out there. So keep that in mind. I think it's only $4.99 a month, very cheap, and you could discontinue at any time. But with that said, like I said, the comic market going forward is robust. I don't think anything's going to happen to it. I don't think we're going to get a huge crash, especially in some of the bigger characters. Those books will be fine. You may get a little bit of a dip, but I take those dips as buying opportunities in the major grails out there. So if you get a pullback in an Amazing Spider-Man number 129, maybe, there's talk of Frank Castle coming, John Bernthal taking the role. Let's say it doesn't happen for a little bit. And we may get that because the Multiverse of Madness, all the rumors that came out with that movie, Ghost Rider was going to be in it. We're going to see Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. I'm not spoiling it for you guys out there, but don't expect that stuff because it was crazy, all the stuff that they were saying. There were some cool appearances in that movie, and I'll leave it at that. But these books might come in a little bit because of that. Those are the books that I'd be grabbing. Amazing Spider-Man 129, Marvel Spotlight 5, those books where we heard all these rumors. Those are the books I say, you know what, they're going to have a future in Marvel, as 100% they are. They're big characters. They're going to do something eventually. Another thing with the Disney Plus, with the Moon Knight series, everybody was specking on Werewolf coming to that show. Didn't happen. Dracula was going to show up. Didn't happen. Again, still great books to own. I would definitely pick up those books, and as they come in, I'd be buying them. Those are big keys, right? Those are the keys you should have in your collection if you're a fan of those characters. If you want nothing to do with it, then don't buy it because, like I said, you have to be married to the books you buy. If they're just investments, it's hard to lose sight of what you're going after. You can buy a book, and we've all done it as collectors. I've bought books saying, hey, I think this book is going to go up, but then I wait around 4 or 5 months, nothing happens. You know what, I'm not married to the book. I want to get that book because I want that book better, so let me sell this and buy that. We've all done that as collectors. It's just part of the nature of collecting and being in this game. So take that for what it's worth, okay? I do think the market is strong. It will continue to be strong going forward for collectibles. We may get a lull sometime in the far or near future where nobody's buying anything. People kind of forget about everything that's going on in Marvel, in DC, all the independent books, and then we just have nothing. That's going to hurt the market the most. But the way these movies are going, people going to see these things, hand over fist to get to these movies because there are good movies. I'm not a fan of a lot of DC movies, but the Batman, I love. I thought it was one of the best movies I've ever seen. So when DC puts out a movie like that, that sparks the buzz in all these DC books. All those Batman Silver Age keys, the Riddler, the Scarecrow, Two-Face. You never know what's going to happen. Those books spiked because of how good that movie was. So it behooves the collectors out there when Marvel, DC, and all these other comic book artists make good movies, right? It will help the business because people want to buy comic books. It even helps the new comic book sales because people want to get into the character. Maybe people out there, the young kids, don't know who Batman is, and they're getting into that character. And as they get older, they love the character, and then they start buying some of the older books because they love the character. That's how this works. So With that said, guys, this is my rant. This is my state of the comic market. We are in good hands in the near-term future. I'm going to tell you, if you love the character, go buy the keys you want. If you love the X-Men, go buy X-Men keys. If you love Spider-Man, go buy Spider-Man keys. Don't spec on this stuff. You're only going to get hurt if that's your only motive. If you love the characters, go get them. You will never go wrong. But don't, overspend. Don't go, taking out money of your bank if you can't afford it. That's obvious, right? Do what you can. Don't feel like you're ever getting left behind, because there's always a dip in the market, and there's always going to give you an opportunity to buy a book. With that said, guys, this is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics Collectibles saying thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.